Diego Pavia returning for 2025 definitely will change the way Vandy plays this game today.
You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yo, what's up? It's game day, and this is the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Corey Burton. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. I appreciate you guys. Shout out to the everydayers. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. The NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel, because right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So visit FanDuel.com to get started. Now, it's game day, as I said, and since it's game day, we're going to focus on what it takes to beat Georgia Tech. Control the game, develop a passing game, and definitely play to your identity. However, offensively, does Diego Pavia returning in 2025 change the way Vandy plays this game? That's the golden question here, and I think it absolutely does. I think before the ruling, I think everyone had a sense of, okay, this ruling is a long shot. It probably won't go in our favor. This is Diego Pavia's last ride. They were going to play to that, and they were going to, it was going to be empty the kitchen sink. Let's get everything out, and then let's try to develop another quarterback. Let's try to see what Jeremy St. Hilaire has. I bet that was part of the plan too. Now that Diego's coming back in 2025, I think that absolutely changes, because now you can say, okay, well, we have this schedule coming up for next year, and this schedule is pretty brutal. So we need to figure out how to develop our weapons, try to figure out what we have in these young guys, try to develop a passing game, and get Diego Pavia some more valuable reps, and get this entire team reps at winning another football game. So they're going to play this now, I think, a lot differently. I think they're going to try to develop a rapport with some of these freshman receivers. I think they're going to try to get some things down the field with Diego Pavia, and they're going to no doubtedly see just what he can do so that they can have a plan ready for spring practice. So this is going to be this game's going to tell us a lot about what this team could possibly look like in 2025. Now, I get that there's a lot of transfers coming in that are probably going to be starters, and we don't know how they mesh with the rest of the unit, but I think you're getting an idea of what this team looks like depth-wise, because you're going to see all the guys that are that are down the line, that have been developing, and you're going to just kind of see what they got, and they're going to rotate in. I don't think it's going to be like wholesale changes unless one team's getting blown out, but I think the game plan is going to be, hey, let's see what all we can do in the passing game. Let's try to develop our RPO stuff. It's going to be trying to develop things that will keep Diego Pavia healthy throughout the course of the season, because, like I said, that's a brutal schedule. You got a really tough gauntlet there with Alabama, LSU, Missouri, Texas, Auburn, Kentucky, Tennessee. I mean, that's a rough way to finish the season. That's a hard schedule. So you have to find ways to keep Diego Pavia healthy, because what happened this past year, this team could have won 8, maybe 9 ball games, but Diego Pavia and the rest of the team got beat up. So the game plan for today is going to be, again, here's some keys to the game. Here are some keys from yesterday. How do they manage the bowl week festivities? They have to win in the trenches, and they have to win on first down so they can win on third down. That applies to points 2 and 3 apply to both sides of the ball. Win the trenches, be stingy against the run, establish the run, and then win on first down. Get yourself ahead of the chains. 2nd and 7 or less is perfect. The best way to avoid the best way to have a good third down percentage is to avoid it altogether. So talked about that on the last episode. So we're going to continue to build on that, right? We're going to continue to say, okay, well, here's what Vandy needs to do. Okay, here's the keys to the game, and here's how Diego Pavia and him coming back and the game plan changes. Here's how that affects it, because play to your identity, play complementary football. I think since this was originally going to be Diego Pavia's last ride, now I think that you're thinking about, okay, well, it's not his last ride. We need to develop our identity even further, and so they're going to play into that. So they must establish that early on, and I think their game plan is going to dictate it. Aggressive but effective, keeping the idea of the other two things in mind. So play to your identity. Aggressive but effective and efficient. Aggressive but smart. Okay, don't put yourself in any situations that can burn you on either side of the ball. Right? Run crisp routes. Hit your depths. Okay. Mind your technique, footwork, all that stuff. That's important. So you got to play to your identity. You got to play to the game plan. You got to play and understand that Tech's going to give you some things. You have to be willing to take them, and don't take any stupid chances. Trust your reads, trust your technique, and go out and play football and go out and play so aggressively. So your identity is aggressive. Your identity is physical. Your identity is smart and technically sound, right? And you have to do all of those things. And complementary football means, hey, defensively, we're not going to do anything to put our offense in jeopardy. And offensively, we're going to take care of the football so that our defense can do their thing without having to worry about momentum and all that stuff. Because Georgia Tech thrives off momentum. You saw it in the Miami game. They just continued to confuse Miami. They continue to press on Miami, and they gain that momentum at home. They can gain that momentum today if you let them. So you can't let them do that. You have to hold the ball and all that stuff. So that's something that I think when you look at identity, when you look at physicality, examples of that, offensively is winning at the point of attack, winning in the trenches. That plays into your identity. That's identity piece number one. You win in the trenches. You win your one-on-one battles. If you're supposed to combo the nose. Get movement on him, get up to the linebacker and seal him. That way you create a running lane for Cedric Alexander. Pass pro, communicate. If you see a blitz, alert. And pick it up. Communicate to your guy. Don't leave somebody. Take care of the front. Take care of the front four, front three. Take care of the down guys. Make sure you have those guys covered, and protect your gaps. Protect inside to out. Communication is key. That's part of being technically sound, right? That's part of being a smart player, being technically savvy when things start to break down, because Georgia Tech's going to throw a lot at you. Play to your identity. Play to your technique. Play to what you're taught. There will be no problems. Communicate. There will be no problems. If you're not supposed to come down on a crossing route, don't come down on a crossing route. Okay, don't bite on a double move. That's playing complementary football, because you bite on a double move, and next thing you know, Malik Rutherford's running wide open to the end zone, and it's a touchdown. Now Georgia Tech's feeling really good about themselves, and now they're in their back. And now your offense heaps a lot of unnecessary pressure on your offense. Now, if you give up a 16-play drive, so be it. They earned it. That's going to happen occasionally in the sport of football. The other team's going to earn it, and that's okay. If the other team earns it, there's actually less pressure there, because, hey, they had to earn that. They're not going to be able to earn it like that every single time they want to score, right? So you have to make them earn it every single time they want to score. And if you give things to them, they will gladly take them, and they will continue to take them, and they will continue to force them into situations to where you can give them the momentum, right? Georgia State, you put yourself in a bad situation. Play calling wise, I think that was a culprit there. You put yourself in a bad play call. You leave a guy one-on-one that probably shouldn't be one-on-one in space. Georgia State has scholarship players too. The state of Georgia is really good with talent. You leave that guy wide open. That's not complimentary football, especially at the end of the game. Your offense did such a good job of saving your ass, and you go out there and do that. That's not complimentary football, right? It's special teams working in tandem as well, making your field goals, protecting well on the field goals, protecting your punts, booming your punts, all of that stuff. Play to your identity. Your identity is complementary football. Your identity is control. And I'll talk more about that later, but play to your identity. Play your game and you will be fine. Okay. And I think absolutely a lot changes with Diego Pavia now coming back. I think you start to further your identity. I think this game was going to be a coronation before of, hey, let's just empty it out and let Diego do his thing and have fun. And, we'll worry about all the other stuff later. Let's try to build a lead so we can get these young guys in and let them get some reps. But now it's going to be more towards, hey, let's further build our culture. I think it shifts drastically. Build our culture, build our culture, build our culture, build our identity, build our identity, build our identity, build, right? Build for the future. The future is still on the field. It's going to be awesome. But here we go. I think, I think developing a passing game, how's that going to happen? Well, if you stick around, I'll tell you next. All right, Rocket Money. Did you know that Rocket Money can help you find any subscriptions you forgot about or that you were paying for twice? That definitely helped. That definitely happened to me, right? Did Rocket Money help you? It helped me. Like I said, I had a few subscriptions that I didn't even realize I was still paying for, and Rocket Money made it so easy to track them all down. It's like having a personal assistant for your finances. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower bills so that you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place, whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, or even the goals you want to hit this year. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. So for me, one of the best features is the subscription tracker. I used it to cancel services I wasn't even using anymore, and I already saved a ton. Plus, with their goals feature, I've been able to automatically set aside money for my future. No more stressing about budgeting every month. So cancel your unwanted memberships and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. Again, take the notes. Take a screenshot right here, rocketmoney.com/lockedon. Hey, also, guys, did you know if you want to better your health, if you have personal health goals in the new year, here's what you need to do. Okay, you need to visit the Joint Chiropractic. There's 900 locations nationwide. The Joint Chiropractic, they will help you with all your needs. Right? I need just general wellness, better movement, better flexibility, just not being so this all the time, right? It's phenomenal, man. Dr. Nolan at the Bellevue location, he took great care of me, got me right. They update you every single time. Your initial visit, they do some screenings and they make sure, hey, we're going to get a personalized plan for you. And they're going to check on that plan every time. They're going to say, hey, any changes? Okay, anything we need to focus on this visit that we didn't last? Is there anything new? And they kind of give you a little rundown, a little whatever. I call it a little how do you do? And then they get to work. And they're fast, they're efficient. They get you in, they get you out, and you float out of there, right? You may waddle in all tight and all crunched up, and then you just kind of float out of there on cloud nine. So the Joint Chiropractic, 900 locations nationwide. Visit one now. They have great payment. They have great plans. Just consult, see what works for you, and then go from there. You won't regret it. I promise. All right. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. I appreciate it for sure. Make sure you check out Locked On SEC. Chris Gordy, he's a phenomenal host. We get together, we squad up every single week, usually on Thursdays. This week it was a Christmas Eve edition, but that was just a special occasion. We drop on Thursdays usually, and it's a lot of fun, man. And you get to see the other hosts too. So if you're just slightly intrigued on Locked On Gamecocks, because you look at the schedule, there's a lot of people you want to subscribe to, like Locked On Alabama with Luke Robinson, right? Locked On Gamecocks with Chris Marler, Locked On LSU, Locked On Missouri with John Miller, Locked On Texas, with Locked On Auburn with Zach Blackerby, Locked On Tennessee with Eric Kane. If you want to see what the bad guys are talking about, it's great, man. Locked On Ole Miss with Stephen Willis. They're not on the schedule, but it's a fun listen, man. So I'm excited. You should be too. Check them out. All right. Now, talking about our game plan, right? Play to your identity. But part of your identity needs to evolve, right? I had a great identity in 2024, right? It was ball control, physical, run game, all that stuff, right? But it eventually, and it showed, right? It showed against South Carolina, especially. It showed against a lot of teams. It showed against LSU, showed against South Carolina, showed against Tennessee down the stretch, that not having a passing game, not having playmakers in the passing game can really hurt you, no matter how good your quarterback is, no matter how good your run game is, right? You have a three-headed monster at run game with Alexander, Newberry, and Pavia, in whatever order you want to put them in, right? You had a great quarterback that could manage the game. You had a great quarterback that can get you in and out of good plays, but you didn't have all the pieces, right? It was like you were playing with one arm tied behind your back the whole time. You caught a bunch of people all by surprise, but then when it came down to it, you couldn't push the ball vertically down the field. So what did I say every week? Find ways to push the ball down the field. What did I say at the beginning of the season? If they can find ways to push the ball down the field, even if they only hit on like a third of the attempts, they have to find ways to continue to push the ball down the field. And I don't think, especially down the stretch, I don't think they did a good enough job of that for a lot of reasons, right? Conservative play calling, couldn't protect Diego Pavia, couldn't get separation on routes, couldn't quite connect. You had a drop here and there. You had an inaccurate throw here to there. Then you hit on a few, right? So it just wasn't consistent. It just wasn't something that you could say, all right, well, here comes a shot play. We know we're going to get it. We have a good connection between and who else, right? We got to find that who else. There's got to be a name there, right? Because one game it was Quincy Skinner. One game it was Richie Hoskins. A lot of games it was nobody. One game it was Junior Sherrill. Like it can't be jumping around like that. Yeah, all those guys can get involved. You can have ways to get Richie Hoskins involved. You can have ways to get Junior Sherrill involved. But you have to have that alpha guy. And I don't know if these guys coming in are that guy. I don't have any college film to kind of prove that. Their high school film suggests that they have that possibility. They didn't get that chance at the colleges they were transferring from. But I think that they definitely have a chance to do so, and they're going to have a chance in spring practice to work on that rapport and be that out. Like Vandy just needs that alpha guy. Is it going to be one of the freshmen? Is it going to be Tristan Brown or Joseph McVay? Joseph McVay caught a deep shot against Missouri. He was one of the ones where occasionally it works. He was one of the ones where occasionally it worked. The two times they went play action first play of the game, they hit it for a touchdown. First offensive play from scrimmage. After a 3 and out, they hit a play action, shot, they score on it. LSU, Missouri. They end up losing both of those games, unfortunately, but it's a great way to start. Those are dream starts. Those big plays like that are dream starts. So you got it. I'm not saying you should start every game with a play action pass. That would also become predictable, but you've got to find ways to get shots in just like that. You've got to find ways to stretch the field vertically and not have to take those deep shots like that. Maybe you stretch the field vertically by running, digs or comebacks or things that just push it 10 to 15 to 20 even. Like you can stay in that range and be able to stretch the field because you just got to have people back off of you a little bit, right? You've got to have things that hit the middle of the field or those linebackers are coming, right? They're going to fill those gaps pretty quick because they know you're not going to throw it behind them. Because you can't, right? You can't get receivers to the middle of the field. You can't get a quarterback that can stay back there long enough. He's going to bail, right? All this stuff works against you if you don't have the right pieces. If you don't have the development of those pieces, all that stuff doesn't work around you. So you got to find ways to attack the middle of the field. You got to find ways to attack the middle and deep. You got to find the way go deep on the perimeter. You just got to find a way to catch yards and catch them when defenses come up on you, because defenses will do that because they know all you got is the run game. They turn on 2024 Vandy. They're planning in the offseason, hey, Vandy better find a pass game or it's going to be a rough year for them. I know every single defensive coordinator and defensive staff is in there right now going, they're laid back like this, right? They got the clicker, right? This clicker. They got the clicker. They're like, all right, well, that Pavia guy, he better find something deep down the field or they're not going to be able to get anything, right? So you've got to find something vertically. You've got to find something to attack the middle. You've got to self-scout and look at how teams are attacking you. And when you can find out what you're doing and how teams are attacking it and how teams are stopping you, do it by down and distance. What are we doing on second and long? Are we predictable, right? How are defenses being able to have success against a team that is very dynamic, a team that was very dynamic at the beginning of the year? How did that change? Passing game never developed. That's one reason. So you have to figure out what that looks like. What does that look like for you? What does that look like for Pavia? We know what his limitations are. It's deep down the sideline. He's just not. That's just not what he is. It's not who he is. That's okay. I love that. It's fine. But you got to find ways to get around that. You still got to take those shots, but you got to find other ways to get around it. He's pretty good middle of the field. He's pretty good attacking the middle of the field, intermediate to sort of deep, right? He's good at that. He can hit a deep dick over the. He can hit a post. He had a great looking post ball to McVay to score that touchdown against Missouri. He had a play action sprint out that he bombed to Junior Sherrill against Alabama on 4th and 1, one of the ballsiest calls ever, right? So he can do it. It's just putting him in the right situation for him to be able to do it. Develop the passing game, like I said, right? Develop the passing game. Find who your playmakers are. Is it going to be Agent Zero? Is it going to be one of the freshmen? Is that playmaker not on campus yet? Who is it? Well, I want to talk about gaining control of the game, but I want to do that next. All right. The NFL playoffs are almost here. It's closing in, but it's not too late to get on the regular season action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can finish the game strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So FanDuel has so many ways for you to pick up a W this season as we come down the stretch. I love betting on which players will score a touchdown, how many points each team will score. I love the player props, the rushing totals, the carries, the receptions, all that stuff. I love all of that, right? I actually hit on a player prop. I did a Derrick Henry anytime touchdown. That's always a pretty safe bet. But there's going to be some really good ones this weekend that you don't want to miss out on. Like you could do an Amon-Ra St. Brown anytime touchdown this week. You'll probably cash out on that. So visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your chance at $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And you could also bet on these college football bowl games too. All right, we're wrapping up the show here. Locked On Vandy. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. Locked On Vandy, at Locked On Vandy, I should say, on all social media platforms. Follow it on Instagram. I'm trying to do the Instagram thing. I've never been good at Instagram. I'm trying, guys. Trying. So let me know. Give me some feedback. It's tough to get feedback on Instagram, but I would love if you guys gave me feedback on that Instagram page. At Coach Burton 36 is my personal X account, and then at Coach Corey Burton on Instagram as well. If you want to catch my my Coach Burton account. So this has been a fun way to kind of wrap up the the football season, I should say, and get into football off season, get into basketball. This is going to be a fun way to do it, man. This bowl prep has been really, really fun. I'm so glad we got this matchup that we can see today with Georgia Tech. I think Brent Key's doing a phenomenal job down there with his staff and that program. He's building a winner. He's kind of like the Clark Lee of that situation, played kind of like an unpopular position, but is a really good coach. People don't know it yet because they just want to look at the record and see what's going on. But like, I don't think they see the learning and the development of the coaches. Now, Clark Lee, I will say he's made a ton of mistakes. You don't go 2-10 without making a lot of mistakes. He recognized that and he fixed it. That's what I love about it. Vandy gave him a chance to fix it. He fixed it. Now I think he's got something going here. I think he found the right mix. If he can hold on to Tim Beck and Jerry Kill, which I don't think Jerry Kill really has any interest in going anywhere. I think he likes Nashville. I think he's close with Clark Lee, and I think he likes what he's building. I just don't see him going anywhere because I think he's got a perfect role here. But getting control of the game, I think, is the most important thing here, right? We look at our keys, gain control of the game. I think both teams are built similarly as far as their identities. They both want to control the game. They both want to control the clock. They want to control the field position, because Brent Key's an offensive line guy. Buster Faulkner, he's had to kind of – the one thing that he's learned as a coordinator, as a play caller that I've seen, and I bet I'm interested to know if he would agree with me on this. Next time I see him at a family function, I'll ask him. But one of the things I think he learned from early on when he was at Middle Tennessee, when he was at MTSU, is I think he was wrapped up in throwing the ball a lot. He was more like closer to air raid, spread, just, hey, we're going to spread you out. We're going to hit you with shots and things like that. And it just didn't seem like it was an overly physical style of play. And since he's been at Georgia Tech, I think I think he learned a lot of this from Todd Monken, but I think his development has been really, really good as far as establishing the run, establishing your physical identity, and controlling the game. Todd Monken is that way. He wants to control the game. You watch the Ravens play. You watch Georgia's national championship teams play. Todd Monken is definitely a control the ball type guy. And control it with the run, be physical, throw when you need to, be creative with it, have things off of things, all that stuff that he does. He went to an advanced master's degree. He got an advanced master's degree in offensive coordinating, and it's been great to watch, and it's a good matchup. I think, and I say all that to say that Vandy's going to have to work to get control of this game, right? And they're going to have to do the things that they've been doing all year as well. So if you can't get a first down, or if you can't push the ball downfield and get points, at least get 1 or 2 first downs, get up to midfield, and be able to flip the field, right? Be able to get a couple first downs because it eats clock. Be able to get a couple first downs because it allows you to create long fields for your opponent, and it allows your defense to it allows them to take a little bit of pressure off because they are forcing Georgia Tech to drive a long field, and that favors the defense, and that puts them in position to be able to, if they get a quick 3 and out, it shortens the field for Vandy's offense too. That's called complementary football, right? I got a little excited, got a little ahead of myself, but I think if you can control the clock, I think that puts, if you're in control of the clock and you know what you're doing, you're controlling the tempo, you go on one of those patented Diego Pavia death marches down the field. I think that puts a lot of pressure on Georgia Tech. It does weird things to the psyche of the opposing play caller. We're going to see just how Buster does with that, because I don't know if he's had to deal with one of those type situations this year. I don't know if he gets impatient knowing that his possessions are going to be limited. We're going to see just how that happens. So I'm excited to see that and how Georgia Tech responds to that. And hopefully, for Vandy's sake, they do get a little impatient. That can be a byproduct of that. Now, Vandy may not, or Vandy may do that. Georgia Tech may not flinch. Now, how do you respond, right? So that's something that that's that chess match of okay, now I've got control. No, okay, no, I've got control. No, you got control. Crap. Okay, no, we got to get it back, and and getting it back is going on one of those long drives. Limit your 3 and outs. Okay, like I said from yesterday, part of gaining control is winning on first down so that you can win on third down. Right, that goes for both sides. Win on third down. Okay. Offensively, don't get to third down. That's how you win on third down. So here's the deal, right? That is how you do it. That is how you gain control. Get yards, even if you don't score. That's okay. Even if you can't score, even if you can't even get into field goal range, just give yourself a chance to create a long field, and you'll be just fine. Okay, so. Last thing I'll leave you with, okay? This is a 2.5 game. It's basically a pick'em spread now. Over under set at 50. It's 2.5 points in favor of Georgia Tech. I'm taking the points. I'm taking Vandy plus 2.5. I'm also taking the over. I think there's going to be a good bit of points scored here. It's just 50 points. So, you get a 24, you get a 28-24, you're there, right? And I think this game can get up in the 20s. So I'm going to leave you with this. My prediction is going to be Vandy 27, Georgia Tech 23. Okay. It's going to hit right on the over, right? So, no, hold on. 28-23 because I want to go 1 point over the over because I'm taking the over as well. So I'm going to take Vandy plus 2.5. 28-23 is going to be your final. And this is going to be a perfect way to cap off the bowl season or the season for Clark Lee going into next year with tons of momentum. So give me that score. If you're going to the game, if you're on your way to the game, be safe, have fun. I'll see you back after the game. Probably not immediately after, but soon after for a live show. So be sure to jump in on that as well. Possibly having Kurt Page on the live show. He's going to the game, so I'm going to talk to him about what the atmosphere was like. I think it's supposed to rain too, so bring your raincoats. And be loud. Anchor down. Peace.